It's clear you like the hard stuff, Brota. Evening falls. The time has come to take the vow. The vows are blood and flesh. Lower intestine, the term is metabolic and circulatory system. Fascism, Brota. Many things, but it's mostly about trusting your gut. Who does your gut tell you is the source of Revachel's problems? Yes, them, but also women. Women, men of war. You don't like them. They're insane. Their idiocy needs to be scrubbed off this world with rubbing alcohol. Woo men need to go back to the fucking kitchen. That's what fascism boils down to. The rest is also important. But the main thing is that woo men need to know their place. Feminists? No, it can't be. Not you. No one believes this. Stomach truth. You're having a stomach truth. Because you've said the hard things that others won't say, the good things, you've said them many times. Okay, yes, let's call it that. Good thinking. That sounds much better. Traditionalism. You like the sound of that. You're going to keep your voos, right? Keep your voos, Brota. For the nation, smart. Best not to mention the woo men too often. That's why you're the head and I am the stomach. Of course you are, Bruta. Of course. Across the room, the heating system hums its soft lullaby. The mattress feels soft and sheets warm. It only takes you moments for the world to fall away.
Thoughts, baby. A million little lights in the dark. You're one fine instrument, brother. All those faces and all those names. All that laughter and screaming and scheming around. Every corner and every street.
Recorded in you forever.
On and on it goes, for untold hours. At the disco where you first asked her to dance. Rising, rising, above the dark curvature, the great wingspan of sleep, studded with stars.
Behold, there are millions of them down there. The first time, the last time, the smoke in her mouth, the plotted flowers, the faces turning, changing.
It's the world, Harry boy, and you're made of it. Every day you're out there, you make more of yourself from it. I'm afraid you can't be unmade now. You can never forget this shit.
Beautiful. It's stuck on loop, whirling, spitting out words and images.
You're the son of the world again. Harrister, a ceaseless agent. Picking up litter and old newspapers. Collecting your little bubblegum wrappers and idiotic picture postcards. Meaningless, meaningless keepsakes.
Reading your awful letters and recalling things, aren't you? The endless names of the world. An address book you are, The map of a city.
You'll go insane if you keep going like this. One more day, and you'll be in the loony bin. I just know you will. And for what, brother man?
For the working class. For the money, baby. For the greater good. For Revacon. Always and only Revacon.
Solving your little crossword puzzles. Doing your tasks. Crossing names off lists. Trying to become some sort of world detector. It won't make it okay. It won't put smoke back in her mouth. There he goes again. He's a real political animal, our Harry. He still doesn't see that it's the world changing around him.
He's got no idea what he's in for.
'Cause only love can break your heart. Beep, beep, beep. The alarm is ringing, Harry. The disco circus goes on and on. You barely slept 3 hours last night.
You can do it. It's nothing. Do it for the city. Go. Do it for the wind. Do it for the picture puzzle. Put it all together. Solve the world. One conversation at a time. You were right, brother. Back there, in your sleep, all the weak-willed delinquents, dilly-dalliers, foreign moneylenders, insane anarchists, and yes, the woemen, they've run this place to ruin. The game was rigged from before you even knew how the pieces move, soldier. It has, brother, but we are going to turn back time. A solemn gurgle emanates from your stomach. I will send you back to the time when the sun had not yet vanished, when it was still setting into the sea. The time of the suzerain, the time when love was still possible. To go back with the knowledge and the experience you now have, and to do it all over. Do it richtig this time. Protect the suzerainty, clean up the city, revive disco music, and get her back. You could save Revachon. You could be the man, brother. Her? No one. Don't ask about her. You fool. Second chances are not about questions. They are about actions. Are you ready to start taking action, brother? Ultramarathon here meant Revachon. Our streets and all that. It's all there is. Just move on and answer the question. There must be others like you. Men who long for the days when words like loyalty and love meant something. Love is shit. Loyalty is meaningless. People whose yearning for the past is so great they barely live in the present. Those are the men you need to find. Those are the guys who know. Think, maybe you've already met someone like that. Oh yes, Gary is exactly the kind of guy we want. He knows something. Who else? Now we're making bank. A man with guts and a memory. I felt it too. He could be a treasure trove of wisdom. Who else? Bullseye. And that's the vibe we're looking for. Those are the people with answers. And by longing, you meant blatantly racist, right? Now, there is a man who values the past with passion. And you know how the saying goes. He who clings to the past shapes the future. That is not a saying. It makes no sense. Measurehead is exactly the kind of man who'd know how to step back into the past. 4 is a good number of traditionalists. It's plenty. Let's go see what they know. History will remember us, and this time we don't have to worry about her being kind. Praeterea Redia, Kingsman. Charge for Revocol. Charge for love.
Always a pleasure to see an officer of the law. I mean, officers. Do I know how to turn back time? Is that a trick question?
The lieutenant crosses his arms and turns to look at you. You'd better be going somewhere case-related with this. He gave you a question for an answer. Must mean the answer's obvious.
Phew. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, of course there are theories out there.
The further out, the better.
Well, there's a very interesting cryptid known as the Semper Ma, and a certain tribe of ancient kits who practice digital castigation. Though, frankly, I don't know how compelling you'll find that theory. And then you hear rumors that the Seolites possess technology that actually lets them move through time like it's a corridor. Back and forth, you see.
The lieutenant stops writing in his notebook for a moment. It's only a fraction of a second, but you catch it.
Cryptids, actually. It's a so-called colonial animal, presenting as a large singular body when in actuality, it's a congregation of tiny organisms working in unison.
What if you only appear as a large singular body, are actually a congregation of tiny organisms working in unison? Get out of here, dreamer. Don't you think we'd know about it? If it were true, those organisms would not be working in unison. That's because some of them just don't have the best interests of the colony in mind. Hey, maybe if the rest of you took a chill pill every now and then, they'd be more motivated. Shut up. We can't hear what he's saying.
It's found in the subtropical jungles of Samara. Extremely difficult to spot as it appears to the untrained eye like common mud. It's thought to be impossible to catch and very dangerous. Yes, it blends in with the jungle floor. Unsurprisingly, it's become the subject of many local myths. Some have even described it as an angry forest spirit or a manifestation of the forest itself. I once heard a story about a whole village disappearing overnight without a trace. Can you imagine that? Just a large patch of mud where the settlement was. Yes, that's also horrible. I mean in a much grander scale. exactly what happened to that village.
This event will be beyond all scales.
Whole area is completely abandoned now. Locals won't even go near it. They swear the mud writhes and occasionally grows strange shapes.
Jungles, villages, mud. He better not be wasting your time.
It gets even scarier. You see, the Semper Ma has also evolved a curious defensive mechanism. When threatened, it has the ability to revert back to an earlier stage in its own life cycle. It may even be able to do this continually, ad infinitum.
So, the scary sentient mud is also immortal? That's good news.
Now, here's where it gets really interesting. It's believed that the mechanism by which the Semper Ma reverts actually reverses the flow of time itself.
To be able to revert back to a previous version of yourself, to the one before all the mistakes. That's why we're here.
By about 4.5 seconds. Well, you see, the fascinating thing about it is that this temporal reversion is said to extend to anything touching the Semper Ma at the moment of reversal. And attack it over and over again, you could theoretically punch your way back to the Franco-Nigerian era.
Like a diving suit powered by pain.
Assuming you survive the encounter, but that's way down the line, of course. Well, first we'd need to secure funding for an expedition, then assemble a team, gather supplies. There's probably a million other little things. But with the resources of the RCM behind you, it could be feasible.
He seems to have an unrealistic idea of the RCM's budget and manpower.
I haven't really heard of any time travel pills, officer. And personally, it seems easier than accessing deep secret SEAL-like technology and more civilized than digital castigation. But to each his own. Well, how else did they get so far ahead of everyone in the tech race?
No part of me is part of this conversation. Oh no. That's a special thing you two are enjoying with each other.
Everything's cool. Nothing wrong with a little speculative inquiry. But really, officer, how do you explain how the SEALites developed such a lead over the rest of us?
He's really trying to convey how cool and natural this all is for him.
I don't know. Sounds a bit incestuous to me. But sure, none of my business. I'm not a SEALite, but no way that's the reason they're winning the race.
Oh, trying to keep only one type of people around you is suddenly incestuous, Gary?
Come on, officer. Everybody knows about it. The stuff they've got, most people here can't even dream of it.
He's just discovered that he can't think of any examples, though.
You think that's crazy? Just wait till you learn how they've managed to get so far ahead of us. Isn't it obvious? Someone's been feeding them a little trickle of tech down from someplace no one else can reach. Exactly, officer. The SEALites are helping themselves from the future, and every little incremental improvement they receive in the present has major ripples all along the timeline. That creates a loop, right? The more advanced tech they send here, the more advanced they become in the future, which means that by smuggling ever more advanced tech down to the past, I'm sure you can see where this is heading.
Within this self-contained logic bubble, a loop, he is not wrong.
I don't know, officer. I think future Revacol might also have a few aces up its own sleeve. The people are starting to wake up, you see.
You notice the lieutenant flinch and rub his forehead as if hit by a sudden migraine. God, I hope he meant it sarcastically. If not, I don't really see how he can continue being a police detective.
Though I suppose this still doesn't help you manipulate time personally. Perhaps you should consider digital castigation. Well, essentially it's a grief ritual practiced by certain ancient Seminese tribes. Traditionally, after the death of a village leader, the bereaved are supposed to cut off a segment of their own fingers. What makes it really disturbing is the fact that they bite off bits of their children's fingers too. Even babies. Imagine that.
Yes, imagine it. Small hut, pregnant with screams of anguish and terror. The lowered head of the mother as she gnaws at the child's joint, chewing, screams, agony. Finally, there's a tiny crunch, followed by the sound of weeping. Agonizing pain. Please note, tales of digital mutilation are a common trope of racist pseudo-histories, completely unsubstantiated by the archaeological record.
I'm getting there. See, the practice is derived from Seminese finger counting. Each segment of the finger represents 1 hour, so they count up to 12 with one hand, disregarding the thumb, of course.
Absolute nonsense across the board.
By removing one segment from their fingers, they remove the corresponding hour from their life. That's what they believe, anyway. No. There's a discrepancy between how these Seminese tribes count and how they tell time. As I explained, they count up to 12 on their fingers, but they divide the day into 15 parts. But that's a whole other discussion.
One you absolutely don't have time for. Let's be done with this idiocy.
Oh, well, this is embarrassing, but I'm really not sure what else to tell you. I don't know what to tell you, officer. I got all my information straight from Truth Hunt. If you can't believe a radio program called Truth Hunt, who can you believe?
Anyone whose livelihood isn't predicated on creating and maintaining preposterous mysteries. Truth Hunt is a popular radio program. Each week, its two eccentric hosts explore a variety of topics, from cryptids and conspiracy theories to ethnic warfare and the historical man from Heimdall, a radio counterpart to the Guardian fringe science magazine, Paradox B. This guy has proved to be a dead end. A dissatisfied growl in your abdomen. But the hard endure, and the true kingsman keeps searching. Violence, brother. The night is darkest before the dawn.
Have you no shame? Whining about your back every time you bring out the measuring tape.
René, you're a man with a fork in a world of soup. Please, let's just try to enjoy the game, all right?
Look, in his hand, going into his mouth, the sandwich. It's hauntingly beautiful.
I'm trying to, but you keep breaking my concentration. You're old. I can see that. We're both old. Now stop grabbing your ass like it's a girl.
These manly men are playing balls. This is a ball game. Grab a ball and play it. Don't ask questions. Shoot first. Ask questions never. No, you got this. There's the ball. You're the game.
See? Your munching and complaining have ruined my concentration.
Could the objective of the game be to throw the metal ball so it lands by the wooden ball?
Ah, mon Dieu. The pain in my back is unbearable. I can't even say if it's in my back or hip anymore. Feels like it's in both.
I hope you pass out from it, you goddamn jellyfish. Men like you are the reason this nation is sinking.
Trying to throw something as close to a predetermined point as possible. Measuring. This must be the age-old game of petanque. Shush. Ignore them. They don't know what they're doing. They're old. You are letting down yourself and the team. Get in the damn game already. Doesn't matter what team. Pick a team. Any team. The blue team. You're letting them down. Get in the game and throw the goddamn ball. Eyes on the ball, Dinky Winky. You are immediately surprised by the ball's lack of weight. No matter. You'll make it work. God, this is right. You feel the familiar tremble of excitement and adrenaline that precedes every victory. Time has frozen. The cold metal ball is surprisingly smooth against your neck. It has a pattern on it, probably a sponsored ball. Yours would only be covered with bumps of learning and scars of victory. Already, your muscles are adjusting to the weight, the nervous system calibrating, until you and the ball have merged into a single entity. The man ball is ready. A chilly breeze ruffles your hair as you stand there, feet firmly planted. All sounds, smells, even the wind, everything fades until the only thing left is the union of man and ball. West, in the Grand Couronne area, a sharp overhand left from Arsène-Luc Edelbrock sends the Samarin heavyweight champion, Kostya Miasnok Kostanicha, flying to the mat. The crowd goes wild. Revachol loves her heroes. An embodiment of pure motion, a fine-tuned locomotor running at maximum efficiency. Behold the fear and confusion reflecting in the eyes of the two feeble geezers. They are in awe of your superiority. You are a god to them. Some would still say you're a cop, but I guess we're beyond that now.
Merde! Bordel de merde!
A whorehouse of shit? It wasn't whorehouse of shit. The shot was at least 23 meters. Probably 24, and then some. Nothing to be embarrassed about.
What the hell is your problem? I don't care if you are a cop. You do not just ruin someone's game. It's so goddamn disrespectful.
A man his age getting worked up like that? Better watch that blood pressure.
You vandalized our game, son. We can't play petanque with 5 bull. Well, it damn well isn't. It's petanque. You ruined a petanque game. We want our bull back.
Take it easy, René. This is just a misunderstanding, isn't it, officer? No harm done.
Of course there's harm done, you orange slug. You owe us a goddamn bull.
You are an officer of the law, with way more important things to worry about than bowls. Don't take this crap.
Good. Mistakes are forgiven, when men at least try to right their wrongs. I believe you will try. Now, why did you approach us?
Yes, why did you come here? It's unlikely they know anything about the murder. You never know. He might know something. This is a good vantage point. Just talk. It'll smooth things over. Old people like attention.
Yes, the Debardeurs union pays me to stand vigil during the nights. Not out of any political allegiance, mind you. I'm an old man. Don't sleep more than a few hours every night anyway, and money is tight.
He feels like he has to justify himself for some reason.
She is nobody. This is none of your concern, and I refuse to discuss my private affairs with the RCM.
The lady is Jeanne-Marie Beaulieu, and she sure as hell wasn't a nobody.
Yes, it does. Unfortunately, I wasn't working that night. Been on a 2-week leave since last Monday. It's a private matter. Nothing to do with your investigation.
You see, officer, René is the kind of man would rather die than admit he needs medical assistance or, God forbid, sick it. A real man's man is just gonna ride it out.
I'm fine, goddammit. Mind your own business. It's nothing. Just got to cut back on coffee.
It's his heart.
No one. The bus has been unmanned since last Monday. There's no other guard. It's just me.
No one has been guarding the container yard since last Monday.
Yes. It's not actually an issue. I mean...
Look, officer, the container yard doesn't actually need a guardsman. Never had one before René. Monsieur Claire had that booth built specially for him. It's mostly decorative.
The possibility of someone being in there is enough to discourage any ill-minded individuals.
Evrard created this job for René because he knows the Royal Carabiniers' pension of honor and PTSD isn't something a man can live off. A decorated Kingsman collecting tear reflects bad on the whole neighborhood. His words.
It's not charity. Not to me. Up there, I give it all I got. I earn my keep. But you're right, officer. There is no middle ground. It's do or die.
Something about him has changed. He's calmer somehow.
Yes. Like I said, it would be up anyway, so might as well keep an eye out. It keeps my senses sharp. Unfortunately, I don't. Unlike most of the locals, I have no qualms about assisting law enforcement, but this affair has passed me by completely. In Martinez, the Union is the law, so can you really blame them? Cop is a pejorative term. I don't have a problem with policemen. On the contrary, I admire the effort to bring order to our streets.
He doesn't know about the crime. Your time is better spent discussing politics.
I'm confident they are indispensable in regard to all the paperwork and other administrative duties. But you must agree that nature, in her infinite wisdom, has made men more fit to perform certain, more challenging tasks, don't you, officer? No reason to even feel bad about that. It's just the way of the animal kingdom. Yes, the terrain here provides an interesting variety to a familiar game. I do. Fire from heavy artillery.
Heavy artillery fire, you say? That's the best kind of artillery fire. Very interesting.
Why what? Because that's what happens when communists hijack your country, execute your supreme leadership, and turn your capital into a slaughterhouse. You use heavy ordnance to clean up your home. Commies, communists, socialists, anarchists, call them what you like. They just chose the name to feel special. Senseless sentimentality. Sadly, no. It was the foreigners who brought them to their knees. We fought valiantly. Too valiantly. So valiantly we got licked. Should have fought dirty, like they did with their suicide sex cult propaganda and mad anarchist women strapped to shrapnel bombs. We didn't though, and we lacked caliber. God bless him, but the suzerain's cannons simply weren't big enough.
It was probably a bit more complicated than that.
Because this place is a damn beachhead. Had to soften the commies up first. Yes, the military coordinated amphibious landing to take back Revachol.
He finds your lack of historic knowledge troubling, a sign of mental deterioration in the preceding generations.
Martinez was used as one of the 3 footholds in Revachol during Operation Deathblow in 08. The other 2 are off in Stella Maris and the Delta. This here is Blood Ground, where Coalition boots first made landfall and cleaned those rabid dogs out. Most likely, we're playing pétanque on their mangled corpses.
Blood ground. You got old René going there. Like he isn't hungry enough already.
Damn right, son. They laid the fire of hell on the city before they stormed it. And it worked, too.
He approves of this radical approach, knows it was necessary.
The rest of the city got cleaned up, but Martinez they keep as a monument. And now the Union Socialists are practically running the place.
Well, it's your own damn fault. You, we, the Coalition, Revachol, whoever you want to blame, never finished the job. Officially, the party never surrendered. Of course they still hold influence.
You don't even begin to truly understand the players at the table, let alone the specific circumstances surrounding the... What do you think?
Thinking men have opinions on these things. Present one.
I'm sorry it had to be them. After 8 years of fighting those hyenas, boiling cats for food and drinking piss in the mountains, I would have preferred if the Right Honorable King Guillaume returned to Revachol, or even if that damn clan Frisel had risen from the grave and led us. Sadly, that was not the case.
This royal failure weighs heavily on him.
Instead, all that is just, holy, and beautiful in the world was wiped away, and now it's neon signs with toothpaste ads everywhere. Foreign influence peddling garbage and stupid music on the radio. This is just what the commies wanted. This was their plan all along. This is what they wanted to replace the role of the suzerain with. Damn Frisel. He was the king we couldn't protect. The Carabineers failed him, and the crown. He died in the hands of the Hyperlay, in a very public execution.
He slouches as he says that. It makes him smaller, admitting they left the king to the mob.
A true king in both blood and mind led Revachol before Frisel. He would have been better, but the damn commies drove him into exile.
Some manner of self-deceit is present in his thinking. Sounds like this Guillaume abandoned him, and he doesn't want to admit it.
The suzerain is the king! Has everyone forgotten already? They've forgotten already.
Soon, they will forget everything. Him too. Then he chooses anger over melancholy.
It's no use talking to you. You were still in Daddy's balls when it happened. When we took our last stand against the filth and rode the cavalry straight into gunfire.
An extremely inadvisable strategy against automatic weapons. Be sure not to make the same mistake. As Rene turns from you to his partner and back, the medals on his chest rattle and glare. He keeps his spine straight and his ribcage lifted, displaying them proudly. 2. The larger one is shaped like a cross, while the smaller medal resembles the sun. A crowned head in front of 2 crossed rifles. The medal hangs from a blue striped triangle. It's the Croix de Bravoure, Cross of Valor. The cross was the highest battlefield decoration in Suzerain's armed forces, awarded for exceptional bravery in the line of duty, in service of King Frisel I. A small blue star inside an orange sun. It has the word Valiance written below. The setting sun was a decoration used to distinguish seasoned combat veterans in service of King Frisel I during the Revolution.
For bravery.
It's a conflicted topic for the old veteran. There must have been a number of controversial episodes in his service days.
No. We were the last ones to keep all the baby killers and rapists in check. And let me tell you, son, if there hadn't been Royal Carabineers, Revachol might not be standing at all.
Whoa. Sounds like you're about to open the gates of conversation. This man will literally talk your ear off if you let him wander off to memory lane.
For doing my duty in the heat of battle, for looking my mortality in the eye, when men like Gaston here hid in the bushes and shat themselves.
He saved some muddy princeling who foolishly strolled into the front line in his gown of velvet and gold.
It was on the first months of the revolution here in Revachol. Unrest was spreading like wildfire. Marauders had taken most of the Couronne and were getting really ambitious. King Frisel thought he could end it all in one decisive strike. Sent his cousin, Drisson, to put an end to the unrest. Alas, the young Drisson was all piss and no vinegar, wearing a tunic of purple velvet and cockatiel feathers to battle. Even his rifle was gold-plated, shone from 5 clicks away. Can you imagine the asininity?
You can. It's very asinine. He really despises that Drisont fellow.
Purple velvet tunic. That isn't exactly camo.
To keep the long and bloody story short, Drisson marched us against the partisans in Coron. And when I say marched, I mean made us walk into captured enemy territory, single file, like toy soldiers, while he rode in front on his giant red stallion. The rebels were smart. They let us come real close before opening fire. Suffice to say, it was carnage. I got shot in the left shoulder and went down. Just a flesh wound. But just as I turned over, the prince fell into the mud next to me. He was missing his lower jaw. Then his horse, driven mad by the noise and smell of gunpowder, stepped on my leg and shattered my knee.
It's painful to even think about. Hang on to the story. Veterans get sentimental after such retellings. This might yield something useful.
I grabbed my sidearm and shot the beast in the head. Then everything went black.
Capitaine Arnoux, le fléau des chevaux.
The bane of horses.
When I came to, it was all over. It was just me and Jolas Tresson, gurgling in the blood-soaked mud right next to me. The Dink had taken numerous flesh wounds and lost a lot of blood. But despite missing his jaw, he seemed hesitant to die. Tougher than he looked, that one. So I grabbed the Dink and started crawling. Kept going until the 59th Cavalry picked us up. Through some miracle, we both survived. And the jailless freak convinced Frissel to give me a medal for not leaving him to die in his own blood, piss and shit. He was the commanding officer and I was on duty, just doing my job. Shouldn't hand out medals for that. 13 months later, I received the Sun for distinguished service. It's not worth mentioning.
You sense he's downplaying it. He did a lot more than his duty. More than anyone's duty. It's in his spine, in his billowing breasts, and untarnished self-worth. Duty, medals, honor, chain of command. I like this guy. He's not a pansy. I don't like pansies.
Because he was a goddamn dandy. Had no business leading men or even being on the battlefield. All he was related. That's it. Royal blood alone doesn't make army commanders. He was a stupid kid, only interested in horses, hairstyles, and man-loving. Pooh! And 782 Royal Carabineers are dead because of his incompetence.
Whoa, man-loving? Is that even a word? It is not. The old carabinier stands quietly like a statue, his features motionless.
What Monseigneur Modesty is not telling you is that he crawled over 7 kilometers before the cavalrymen found him and Drizant. 2 days later that was. And that even while crawling with a mangled half-dead prince on his back, he still managed to murder 3 rebels on his way.
Is that pride in his voice? It's deep down, but maybe even unbeknownst to the man himself, it's there.
Maybe, but also bear in mind, officer. They don't end this out for anyone with a service record. Oh no, you have to get shot repeatedly. And you need to get your hands bloody too. Really, really bloody.
Do not speak of what you know nothing about, Poltroon. Duty is something you will never understand. Bah! There were many such stories in those days. Many such men too. True Revacholians. Men with backbone.
Oh yes, René, yes. Men were bigger, girls were prettier, and everyone wore the fascia. Lord, please bring those days back, if you can.
I'm not getting into this with you again. Officer, was there anything else?
You should try to come up with a heroic story of your own. Impress this old soldier. Go low, go deep, go unconventional.
Sure, officer. Let's hear your take. I'm not following you.
He'll get it. Don't worry. Just continue. He's gonna be impressed. The man stares at you, silently frowning. Doesn't look like he's imagining it. The carabiner crosses his arms and spits in the crater.
You're talking about getting blackout shit-faced drunk and going into delirium, right?
The lieutenant looks up from his notes and nods to the old carabiner.
Was the vessel you boarded the HMS Commodore Red?
The name echoes through the deep, dark halls of history. It calls to you and your kin.
You mean alcohol? Everyone can see that, yes. And I thought getting my knee shattered and surviving on rat carcasses in the trench was bad. Here, have one of my medals. You've earned it, officer.
Your sarcasm will be your undoing, old man. Extremely rigid principles this old soldier has. Don't leave room for a change of heart or backing out. The medal is yours. The veteran of numerous armed conflicts extends his right arm with the setting sun in his clenched fist and an expression of utter disbelief in his eyes. Flashes of bloody and terrible scenes of war, men dying, horses shrieking, blood sinking into sand and snow and asphalt and fertile black earth. All of this accompanied by a musical composition telling of heroism of old, when men were bigger in both body and heart. You feel strange kinship to this old soldier. You and him are the same now.
Was there something else you wanted to take from us?
Just like that, he analyzed the situation, accepted the facts and moved on, like a soldier.
I don't think there was anything else he wanted, was there? You got the medal. Now let's solve the crime.
Something isn't right about this game. Despite his limp, the man in the uniform moves with efficient grace. His motions are measured and precise. The jolly-looking man in the checkered jacket moves lazily, like a giant tomcat stretched out in the sun. Then suddenly, he leans forward and uses the zero end of the measuring tape to nudge his opponent's balls further from the small brown sphere in the pit. As he does this, he complains about his back. Apparently oblivious to his partner's treachery, the uniformed man grabs a ball and takes aim again.
We're still waiting for a replacement for the bull you sent sinking.
The lieutenant flashes you a quick side glance. His posture tenses. What are you up to now?
What?
He thinks you're playing a joke on him.
Now. I'm sure the officer means it figuratively. Like a forensic technique or something, right?
Bon song, son. You must have a loose screw up there or something. Sounds like you really mean it. All right. I will entertain this fantasy if you tell me what interest does an RCM officer have in time travel?
Oh, you're in for a treat, officer. Seeing the playful side of old René is about as rare as a red rainbow.
Not actually that rare. It's just that red or monochrome rainbows usually occur at sunrise or sunset, when blue and green wavelengths are scattered before reaching water droplets. Fewer eyes to see them then.
Even after the revolution, after the beachhead, there was a chance. Had we just stayed true to our values. It happened slowly, like a seedling growing into a tree. Tiny incremental steps, imperceptible till the ticket was so thick you couldn't clear it with a flamethrower.
You could definitely clear it with a flamethrower.
It really does, doesn't it? But honestly, why?
Keep the war crime jokes coming, and you'll end up on his good side.
The right track? This is the right track. The only track. This is the world we shaped. A reflection of what we are. Cowardly, ugly, and numb. And there are no second chances. We don't deserve them. You can't just go back and restart. That would make everything meaningless.
There's something substantial moving in him, trying to get out. He would sooner die than let it surface. Regret. Him. There's tenderness in the Carabineer's look. Tenderness that's curdled into pain or something darker. Even worse, a love aborted and smothered, stamped beneath his brilliant boot heel. You catch the old Carabineer's gaze, slowly leaving his opponent's wrinkled face as his dark eyes meet yours. Whatever turmoil raged in him a moment ago is quelled for now. Like the last rays of the evening sun, gently kissing the day goodbye, before giving way to unfathomable darkness. Willed back into the darkest unexplored depths of his mind, never meant to be shared, seen, or confronted. A true master of his emotions. Hopelessly alone, Behind the unbreakable walls he spent a lifetime erecting. No one will ever know him.
Our lives are unique, and I have neither the means nor the will to help you change that. But I will gladly assist you with police matters.
The Carabiner is too old and feeble to be useful. But you will carry on. Mouvere tempore, Kingsman. For the tenacious, no road is impassable. The old Carabiner looks at you with weary expectation.
Welcome to Revachol.
This man looks like trouble. You might not want to get into this right now. Plenty of time later.
Don't you welcome to Revachol me. My grandfather came here from a 3,000-year-old racist isolationist culture, while your ancestors came to this island a mere 300 years ago. Every school of thought and government has failed in the city, but I love it nonetheless. It belongs to me as much as it belongs to you.
The lieutenant's impassive mask has been replaced with intensity. He speaks not as a cop, but as a citizen. He is Vacholier, a Revacholian.
It's men like you who keep Revachol divided, making it that much harder for everyone to climb out of this post-war limbo.
What he means is, fixation on the Revacholian nation makes it harder for Revachol to actually attain self-determination.
Oh, come on, man. I just said welcome to Revachol. It's a lorry driver thing.
I know exactly what you meant. You think my kind doesn't belong here, that I should watch myself and behave. But you see, I'm an officer of the RCM. It's actually my job to make sure you behave. I would advise you to remember that.
Silence. The air between them becomes tense. Your partner needs backup. Now's your moment to shine.
I haven't learned anything I didn't know before.
The lieutenant exhales and resumes his regular calmness. You sense slight embarrassment for the outburst. Or is it pride? Impossible to tell.
Whatever you say, officers.
He smells of heavy motor oils, and his breath of high tar content cigarettes, probably Astra Whites.
It's about biological determinism, natural law, the sorting of the races. Not the most popular topic nowadays, with a coalition in charge and all. You might want to change the topic. That is, bury your head under the sand like common sheep.
Change the topic. The way he says it makes it almost sound like a threat. Not sheep, ostriches. Actually, neither ostriches or sheep bury their heads in the sand. It's just a saying.
People who've studied these things say that you and me are superior by design. So, naturally, we Occidentals should be in charge. Obviously, you can see the merits in that.
Race is a simplistic means of social classification based on easily observed attributes, hunches, and pseudoscience. If this guy's all the Occidentals have, well, let's just say he's not exactly ripped.
So, lately we Occidentals have experienced an unfortunate downturn when members of the superior race cease to believe in their innate superiority. They stop competing for resources. This concerns you, policemen, so you better be vigilant. The damn kips are showing up good lately. Same with the mosquitoes. And the other intruder species too. They're on the precipice of cultural victory.
Cultural victory? What is this then?
It's what the kips of Boogie Street are going for, right under our noses. And the others too, on the radio. Heard any chansons lately? Heard any motetos or leader? No. Dominating culture is how they plan to win. They say so themselves. It's true. Also, you need to realize the dangers of mixing races. Who knows what might happen if people don't stay in their birthplace? You might end up with a new sub-race, with unknown characteristics, leading to extra competition. That's why you've got to control the offspring. Good. If we, the evening people, pull together, we can form a bulwark against these troubled times. Root out the forces that seek to undermine the well-being of our people.
Lieutenant Kitsuragi's stern expression remains unchanged, but you sense he can't be happy about this turn of events. Oh no, not too happy.
Oh, not much anymore. I'm here to pick up some cargo, but the dock workers are on strike, so it's a sit and wait on your ass situation. The strike? Oh, they've been at it for a while. A month, 2 months maybe. But this here is just the last week or so. Apples?
Apples is exactly the kind of thing you'd say if you had something to hide.
Yeah, apples? I take it you had other questions?
When you said before that you were down with racism, was it meant in earnest? Or were you just trying to win his confidence?
Well, now you've done it. Let's see if you can talk your way out of this one.
So you don't find his views, say, unbefitting of a police officer?
Okay. Feels like this is going to be a discussion now.
And what point would that be?
Wait a second. Are you sure you want to go there? Even if you succeed, you're going to fail. Are you sure about that? Oh boy, we're really doing this. The lieutenant says nothing, waiting for you to continue.
And what exactly do you think should happen to those with undesirable traits? Wonderful. Let me say just one more thing. As you've seen, these sorts of attitudes are quite common in Martinez, so I expect this to happen again and again. I've had this conversation enough times in my life. From now on, I'm going to stay out of it. How you choose to respond is your business. Now, let's get back to the task at hand.
Hello, compatriot. You have something to discuss?
You've got to be kidding me. What is this, detective? I promise he isn't. Just please make it quick. I'll organize my notes in the meantime.
My friend, I don't know what you're after, but I have to tell you, there's no turning back time. I've seen the demographic reports. I know what our experts say. Our greatest days as a people are behind us, and we're not going back. Trust me, brother, I've done the research. Fascist magic just ain't true. Nah, that's bullshit. We can't turn back time, but that doesn't mean we can just surrender to the savages. It's about preserving our heritage, our birthright. That's the question, isn't it? People think you and me got it so easy, but the reality is it's fucking hard to be a regular guy these days.
Is he serious right now? The rumbling in your stomach says there's something not quite right with this one.
You know, I get funny looks from people all the time. I know they're looking at my gut. I can see that. Big fucking deal. A guy put on a little weight. Who cares?
Alert. We detect major body image disturbance. He's really got himself worked up now. Dangerous stores of pent-up emotion there. He grinds a cigarette butt into the pavement and quickly lights another. In reality, there is no culture war, but there is a struggle for mating privileges. Always has been. And this man is outgunned and completely ill-equipped for this conflict. This really isn't about you right now. It starts with The genetic lottery. A few are born handsome, imposing giants, while most, like this guy, are just average. The less fortunate have an underdeveloped limb, a sense missing, or worse. Only the most average survive extinction-level events. That's a known fact. But there's a lot one can do with average, and this guy hasn't. Now past his prime, it's unlikely he ever will. While others dominate the killing fields, he will sink to the bottom of the mating pool. It's his defeatist, self-pitying mentality, a sense that the world owes him a mate because he perceives himself to be a good guy. The ladies don't like that. It isn't sexy. But the truth is, there's 100 million men like him competing for every single female out there. And his attitude virtually guarantees he'll never come out on top. It's a vicious cycle he's unlikely to ever break. The lack of female affection makes him bitter. His bitterness, in turn, reduces his chances of gaining that affection easily. How do you know it already hasn't? And maybe he wouldn't be such a bigot if he had found love sooner. But so it goes.
You still with us, brother? You standing there like a glue sniffer? Time, yeah? Listen, man. Do you even understand how hard we've got it? How completely stacked the whole rotten deck is against people like you and me?
He's not listening at all, just circling the drain. The lorryman looks at you like he can't decide whether he wants to smash something or break down in tears. The silence is heavy and uncomfortable.
No, I can't help you. And I'll tell you why. Cause there's no point, you hear me? Unless you believe in ancient fascist magic like some wannabe magus.
Actually, it's called extraphysics, and you don't need to be a magus to access it. The lieutenant doesn't utter a word, but his face says, "I told you so." This fool is a colossal waste of time. There's no Kingsman inside him, just self-loathing and entitlement. Let's keep searching.
So, women, huh?
His shoulders relax. Tension is leaving him. Strange, he seems different in here. Less monolithic somehow. The room feels soporific in its silence. Dust particles twirling around in the air.
Women. And that's what you wanted to talk about? What is this really about? That is a lie you administer yourself, like heart medicine. Go without it one day, and your heart will stop. Men only want to reverse time for one reason. They say it's about honor, justice, revenge, regret, redemption, and a plethora of false reasons. But further back, deeper in, it is always love that drives them.
This can't be true for the racist lorry driver. Guy didn't have an ounce of love in his life.
I'm going to do you a kindness, Poopa. I'm going to share a secret with you. Here is the secret. There is no love in the past, only the present. The past is made of static images, distorted memories, demented nostalgia. This, the present, with all its possibilities, innumerable hits and misses, is far superior. It is a living organism.
Maybe, if you inquire more about the present, you'll figure out the secret of returning to the past. What about all the women that surround him? Is the love extended for them as well?
Look around you. Look at the advancements in the sexual sciences. All the novel techniques, accessories, preservatives, massage oils, lubrication salves, abortion clinics. And the women who shave and are capable of understanding concepts like polyamory and coitus casualis. The Khoikhoi and their promiscuity are at the forefront of all that.
Who cares about sexual partners and their promiscuity when you've got the fate and honor of Revachol on your shoulders? But promiscuity leads to drama. Sounds fun. It's high time you incorporated some of these things into your daily life. You really have to find out at some point what's up with him and the Khoikhas.
You're asking me to share the sacred techniques that I've gathered and internalized on my life journey with you, a stranger?
No. No. No, 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 no. No. You're not. You are not fishing for his sacred techniques. They're not worth dying over.
Do not think the serenity of my mother's office makes me forget we are biological competitors, albeit unevenly matched. You are more likely to get the Coalition to sign over their warships than get these weapons of pleasure and control out of me. This knowledge never passes from a man to another man, not even from a father to his son. This path is to be taken in absolute solitude.
He's flexing as he says these last words. It seems to be involuntary.
Desperation, wishful thinking, confusion. No woman wants to create a lasting psychosexual bond with a man enthralled to his biological impulses. You have to shed this infantile shell if you ever wish to find a worthy mate.
Everything's revolving around women and sex with this guy. What's that about?
You are trying to insinuate something. This impotent psychological manipulation does not work on me. Speak up, Poopa.
Now is the time to ask about the smell. Didn't he say that it is impossible to maintain an erection with the distinct smell of the Khoikhoi?
No, it turns me on.
Interesting. Is it some kind of aphrodisiac, then? There is no potard smell. Just making it clear. It's racist rhetoric.
Your mind is unable to capture the nuances of this particular situation. It exceeds the limits of your emotional intelligence and your genetic imagination. Do not even try. No, I am not. Poopa. I belong to the SRS. And voluntary offspring production, chimeric or regular, is not an issue for me.
Seminese race scientists. Street racing syndicate. Is it some kind of performance enhancement supplement?
The Semen Retention Society. It does not surprise me that you know nothing about it. Masturbateurs Anonymous is probably an organization you're more familiar with. The SRS is a closed group of strong-willed individuals who have dedicated themselves to building up strategic semen reserves. It takes iron will and razor-sharp focus, far beyond your spiritual potential.
An enormous expenditure of willpower to build up strategic semen reserves. You had me at willpower. Let's do it. Life is all about pleasure. Why deny it?
This is an oversimplification, but yes. It's nothing to be proud of, Poopa. Hysterical masturbation is but one of the many illnesses of Occidental civilization. We are life. Life is sexuality. Sexuality in competition with sexuality. The sexuality of other organisms. The point of any competition is to win. The future. In a biological sense, the man whose essence, whose genetic blueprint is passed on to the most hosts, down to the most generations, fulfills his biological purpose to the greatest extent. This is the love victory.
What about the Semen Retention Society? He's right. Everything's a contest, and only the shiftiest competitors win.
Semen Retention Society. I told you, this is a simplification. Climax is not required for victory. In fact, it is discouraged. A true man retains his essence. It is far more masculine to pass on a blueprint of your mind and your spirit than your flesh. Women give birth to flesh, and men give birth to spirit. Spirit is immortal.
He has a point. While an idea is born potentially immortal, flesh is always doomed to die. Spirit is housed in flesh. No one cares about your fancy ideas if you're getting beaten up behind a bar.
Your agreement means nothing to me. You're a man defeated by love. It is plain to see. It is in your face, in your voice, in your heart. Love takes courage. You did not have enough. You had a little. Too little. That is why we are in my mother's office. You have come to me, seeking wisdom in the sexual arts. Do not waste this opportunity on sycophantic personality mirroring. It will serve you poorly in the great war of love. This is no time for vague generalities. There is something else on your mind. Ask the question you intended to ask, or face your cowardice.
No, this is a trap. He will say or do something horrible if you go down this path. Time to get personal. He's finally ready to open up to you.
The only man worth being called a man, Father Jairzino.
Father Iazinio. Sounds like some kind of mystic or a magician.
No, a welder.
An honest job for an honest man.
Father Jairzino made me hard, where my mother made me soft. Together, they made me complete.
Nothing in the history of things that are has ever been as monolithic as Jean-Luc measured right now. He is an obelisk, a towering phallic obelisk of willpower. The hair on your arm stands up as you hear the wind howl behind the window. An outline of a small bathroom appears in your mind's eye. Above the sink, in a tumbler, is a pair of labeled toothbrushes. One of them is labeled Martha, and the other one, which appears to be a chewing bone, has Iazinio carved into it. A shadow falls over the ceramic tumbler. An imposing figure with almost mythical proportions fills the entire room. He's hunched over the sink, and muscles like waves on the ocean roll under his skin with even the smallest of movements. Roll or twitch, that guy must be juicing. No way he's natural. Big time. TRT, growth hormones, Gradian power injections. He's on all of them. Shaving, or about to chop firewood, because, oh, he is shaving. Sliding an enormous axe blade down his bristly chin, with grunts accompanying the process. Steam is emanating from his naked body. The image blurs. He wasn't even using soap. Incredible.
Let me say that again. It is the balance between soft and hard that made me complete. Father Jairzino was very wise. He realized that if the tender touch of my mother wasn't opposed, I would turn into a complete pussy.
No, not a pussy.
So he did what a man must. He became a counterweight of iron. Through scarcity, ascesis, discipline, and respectful distance every father should have for his son.
How sad. This man only ever knew his mother's love. Smells like physical violence, just like with Kuno and his dad. Hopefully, he at least taught his son some welding.
Yes, I inherited my genetic makeup from Father Jairzino. I am an evolution of him. He is immortalized in my essence, even after his physical body expires.
The last words are said, almost with a longing. And by essence, he means his strategic semen reserve. A collector, that one.
Because Father Jairzino is my father, and his name is Jairzino.
His father taught him respect.
The stereotypical worries of a traumatized social worker. The reality does not correspond to your personal trauma. And if it did, I would welcome it. A good fight with Father Jairzino would be a great honor.
Personal trauma? Is he implying you were the one who got beaten up by your dad?
This denial does not serve your spirit. You are like a dog with its tail between its legs. It is visible to all. It is visible to women, and the reason why you haven't found a worthy mate, or why the worthy mate was stolen from you.
Strange. There are no memories of that recorded anywhere in your body. He's making it up. He's making it up to gain an unfair advantage over you in sexual and possibly financial competition. Slip out of his reach. It's more likely that your father wasn't even around to beat you. It wasn't your father who beat you. It was the world.
This is a weakness I can empathize with. You have my pity. Take solace in it. You are not fit to make assumptions about Father Jairzino. His ability to form emotional bonds with his offspring was exemplary. Teaching self-control, discipline, assizes, and respect was an act of love greater than anything that you or your pharmacotherapeutic culture can come up with.
Hit him right in the soft spot there with that question.
No, I am not interested in welding. I am merely offering a small glimpse of functional family dynamics, something you were clearly deprived of. No, he does not, but it doesn't matter. I shouldn't care, and I don't, what he thinks. I am myself, not him. This is how he taught me.
Intellectual independence. Definitely something worth celebrating. But deep down, he does care. Of course he does. He's his son.
Yes, I have always liked this place. It is my favorite. When I was a kid, I used to come here and wait for my mother to finish her work. Great times were had here, filling in the great coloring book of the Simonine flora and fauna, the carrion flowers and the monotremes, the mangrove forests and the megabots. And the couch. The couch is very comfortable, even though it is very small. There is no couch like this one.
The couch does look very cozy. He's right about that.
No. Yes. She did, yes. With great honors. The greatest, some say. A true modern ritual. The entire organization attended when she was given the honorary engraved paperweight. It was a tender day.
Here's a son who absolutely adores his mother. Adorable. Something moves in the depths of your mind, sending shocks of cold through the connective tissue. You're sitting on a kick sled, whizzing through the snow. A warm, kind presence is guiding the sled behind you, her mittened hand resting on your back. You feel very, very loved, and very, very safe.
The greatest.
His tone is so solemn that, if your eyes were closed, you could swear he has taken a knee.
Clearly, it is impossible for you to shed your neurotic obsession. This wailing for the past is a task unfit for men. It is better left for widows mourning their husbands, and for mentally ill communists mourning their commune. If you want advice on babes, or the mysteries of life, or even on Revachol, look forward. To escape your defeated state, you need to move forward, on to future victories.
But isn't he a traditionalist? Why does he keep talking about future?
I am not a traditionalist. Life on this planet does not move backwards. The ivy moves forwards, covering the whole door. The flowers grow outwards, covering the whole meadow. Nothing grows against time and space. Only along its ley lines can nature progress. It seems to me you are in need of a warning. Here it is. It is absolutely possible to return to the past. You just need to take a ticket to Seregli Island, the southernmost of the Seminine Archipelago, also known as Ile de Fantôme, and walk into Pale. Let it dither and rot your mind. Then you can marinate forever in your irreversible defeat, while race enemies laugh at your motionless, gap-mouthed corpse.
No, this does not sound inviting. Where would you even get a ticket? You can't just pack your bags and leave. Finally, a chance to connect with the divine. It gets very cold in the office, like in a desert after the nightfall.
Before you go looking for tickets, I suggest you see what it does to a man. The rule is a cruel master, but it is not pale. Pale takes your mind and rejects the flesh. It is capricious and terrifying, like a virgin. You will lose your courage before her face. Go have a look. The white-haired protein mass at the intersection. A lorry driver. Impossible to miss her if you're even a half-decent cop. An empty vessel the mind has deserted. A husk no longer inhabited by the consciousness. Biological waste.
Ah, yes. Protein mass. A scientific term from Grad for a person terminally overexposed to the pale. Mouth open, catatonic, completely unable to return to the present. This goes far beyond your conceptual reach. Beyond the conceptual reach of anyone, really. A chill races down your spine.
This one is not like the others. Go find her. See what a relentless obsession with the past does to a man. Yes, our little meeting has finished. It's time to leave my mother's office and return to our jobs. I hope this has been illuminating to you. And remember, what happens in my mom's office stays in my mom's office. Quiet contemplation ends, biological rivalry resumes.
The small, wrinkled woman does not greet you. She nods along to something on her radio. A photograph is clutched in her hands, and there is a warm smile on her face. The photo, an ambrotype from the turn of the century, as golden as her smile. It's the warmth of a winter night's fire. Maybe she could give you comfort and shelter, some cigarettes and food money. Maybe she's your... Nothing. Her smile just keeps widening. Her hair is gray like lead. No, this one is a monster in disguise.
If you want her attention, you may need to be more forceful.
Where am I? Who are you?
The smile on her face has disappeared, replaced by the weary aspect of a cornered beast.
Never mind. I remember now. I'm still stuck in that traffic jam in the 50s. Back in Mefka, during the time of the revolution. The sidewalks and cafes are filled with young people. I was on my way to see a new Boyadero picture starring Gabriel Buendero. Until you came along, that is. This is Gabriel Buendero.
A strikingly handsome man looks straight at you, his head crowned with a wide brim hat. His hair is dark as an oil slick, and his jaw the most perfectly chiseled thing you've ever seen. This man's got a hold over her, even 50 years later. You can feel it.
He was the biggest star of his day. Girls used to faint in the aisles of cinema whenever he came on the screen. And schoolboys used to memorize all of his lines.
In all likelihood, it's a world that's only ever existed in her mind.
Someone was. They are someone's memories, boy. What difference does it make if it's me or not? They're beautiful. That is all that matters. Beautiful and true. And they will win. They're coming for this, you know? All of this.
All of what? The world? The present? She seems to derive some bitter pleasure from this strange thought, as if the past will one day wipe the present away, like a tidal wave approaching.
I wasn't dreaming. I was there, Loman. It was early spring, and the man behind the black sun had just come out. The posters were 20 meters tall. Everything was golden. While you, people, were tearing each other apart over your petty little revolution, in Methk, it was a golden age.
The Republic of Mesk is a massive confederation on the Isola of Muindi, the world's largest state by territory. It's a petrostate, a constitutional monarchy, and, as of recently, an outcast due to its tilt to the far right.
Why not, Harife? It's not like I have anything better to do in this hellhole.
She's just a distracted old woman. We should maybe let her get back to her things.
You hear that, Lowman? I don't think your partner likes you spending too much time with me.
Nothing. I just don't think she's connected to anything.
It's because of the Pale. He doesn't want your frail mind caught up in it. And this woman has spent time in the Pale. A lot of time. Whatever it is about this woman, it's connected to time. She knows the way back.
Oh, don't worry about me. I'm one of the best communers around. I drive routes no one else will. Lomonosov's Land, Udashnaya Zemlya, the Western Plain.
A terrible cold comes over her, rattling her teeth as she stares inward.
The Transcatalia Magistral. You for 1A. Adestradas du Mirador. All the good ones. The deep trenches. Where the bluebirds fly. You're right, Lowman. I'm the one who should take my health more seriously. Thank you for looking out for me.
A correct appraisal. You're quite shabby.
Is that all you woke me up to say? And what is that?
Great. He asked the Pines rep about the Pale, and now he's talking to everyone about it. Fine then. Just try not to black out again, and don't contemplate. We don't have time for that.
It's death, but for the universe, oh, we're contemplating the living shit out of this.
We're still on this ridiculous side task, I see. Ma'am, my partner wanted to know if you work in Pale transport.
No offense. But your partner? Seems like a bit of an idiot.
Republica, a filterless cigarette from Misk.
Neither is Pale transportation. Life is transitory. Like Gabriel Buenguerro in Pergunte a Poeira. You're the opposite of me, then. I remember everything, even things I never knew. The smell of liquor on Gabriel's lips after the shoot, in the motor park. The roses on the day of Franco Negro's coronation, on the grand stairs of Ryle. The smoke from the Fowling piece when Dolores Day was shot.
Yes, yes. This is what you've been searching for.
The look on her face, like an orgasm. The wound in her chest. My hand in my father's hand. Except, I never had a father. And I never shot her innocent Dolores Day. Thought insertion? Dithering? The Grat Cadla Magistral? There is a kind of wonder there. A sad wonder. But at first I had to make a living. Now... when you've seen it all go away like that, rolling off like the sea, and then come back to this... What are we doing here? For thousands of years, Gabriel. It doesn't have to be like this. We can just give up. We can just become a vapor. Like looking into the ocean at night, in the dark. You cannot see it, but you know it's there. And it's big, bigger than anything. Bigger than all the other things combined. Nothing. Until it starts. When you are deep enough. Then, for me, it's like autumn. Dark, gray, and orange. The orange of street lights and the color of streets in the electric light. It smells like autumn too. It smells terrible.
Nostalgia. Cooped up in the cabin, shaking. Terrible nostalgia. For yourself. For humans. It's too much to bear. She loves it.
In the belly of an airship, behind the stair windows. So you don't look straight into it. It's not advised to look into it. No, the same one, a roller. They all are nowadays. Special wheels for connecting to the floor of the hold.
The wheels all small and round, multi-axle trailers.
Yes,
No elaboration. This is your chance. Ask her. Is it really possible?
Jerife, what you understand wouldn't fill a pamphlet. You don't need to turn back time. The Pale is already churning with it. As the tide of Pale rises, so does the past. Someday both will cover the whole world. That's it. That's the story. And that's just fine with me. I don't mind becoming vapor. I like vapor.
There is a name for this ideology. Intrapalism. A faith in and desire to accelerate the spread of Pale across the world until humanity has reached what its adherents call the rest state of humanity. The final reconciliation of past, present, and future in timeless spirit. You don't like the sound of that, Chief. All the really good stuff is right here, in the present.
They say there is a point, one that I have not crossed. In the Pale, super deep. If you stray too far, of course, on the U41A, or in Lomonosov's land, where every step you take is one step further from home, no matter the direction. It's a point you cannot come back from. Your mind becomes so radiant with the past, there is a flip. Instead of writing, it erases memory, nearing some kind of indescribable finale. Maybe you've been down the motorway south? It's a story as lone horsemen tell. Lone horsemen, Jerife, not Pale drivers. Way beyond the established Pale that's lit by radio frequencies, where it goes silent and dark, and the process begins, erasure, kilometer by kilometer, in any direction. The motorway south is a road you cannot come back from. No one knows what's at the end. I've only glimpsed the beginning. I've only felt it in the distance when I was a child growing on the leg. Josiane.
There is nothing more to do now. She's far away. She is receding in the clutches of some indescribable scattered emotion. A child descending.
You've fried both your brains enough for today, Detective. Now, I'd like to have a word with you about this side task of yours. You've been saying that for a while, and yet we only seem to be getting further from our actual goal. Because the problem isn't time, it's you, Detective. If you're serious about this, really truly serious, then I suggest you take a long, hard look in the mirror and ask yourself what's really going on.
The lieutenant is right. It's the only way forward. Face yourself, Kingsman. Why don't you ever listen to us? We tried to warn you that you wouldn't like what the mirror had to say.
Now, come on. Let's leave this one to her reveries.
An old mirror hangs on the wall. You see the reflection of your face in it, such as it is. A regular, clean-shaven police officer. It's time. Time to see yourself as you truly are. It's going to be absolutely devastating, but there's no way to avoid it. It's time you knew the truth, brother. Love, time, river call. It's all shit. All of it. Especially love, brother. Face it, no one's willing to make the sacrifices that are necessary, not in this day and age. Look deep inside yourself. You know it's true, because it hurts. Brother, you have succeeded. It takes a true kingsman to summon the will to face reality in all its darkness, to stare straight into the abyss and do what must be done. There's a lever in front of you. Pull it, and atomic fire blankets your beloved Revocol. Millions die in an instant, but you are spared. You and the voice in the payphone. That voice, so warm and sweet. No, not the voice. Make it stop. While the world burns, the two of you, together again, ride an aerostatic into the sunset. Maybe it will work this time. Spare Revocol, and you'll never hear from her again. Will you sacrifice a second chance at love to keep Revocol safe? An involuntary twitch runs through your hand, almost like reflex. Fine. The three of you, all together, ride an aerostatic into the sunset. The question remains, will you sacrifice love to keep Revachol safe? You're a hard motherfucker. Tightness in gaseous form leaves your body. If we didn't know better, we'd say you enjoyed consigning your city to the flames. 9 million souls flicker out of existence, 16 if you include the greater metropolitan area. Enough. The Franco-Nigerian Court of Honor has held your naked soul up against the sevenfold sun miracle and looked right through it. Close your eyes and know this is who you are. You're tired, afraid, sad, hungry, and in pain. But most of all, confused. Yet, still, like a tiny icebreaker, the tiniest boat in the fleet, you plow ever forward. Now, open your eyes and witness the small wonder. The HMS Modest Kingsman has left the docks. You are neither the greatest nor the strongest icebreaker on the seas, but you are what you are. It was time to banish that pitiful, sad look from your face and replace it with a perfect reflection of your unyielding resolve, your noble suffering. Maybe it will make you temptation-proof, so something good will come out of this at least. You are a terror, even to yourself. You'll plow your way toward the frigid lands of Gutla and Vasa, smashing every ice sheet in your path. Nothing can stop an icebreaker. It's a lot like the face a certain muscle man is making on that t-shirt you insist on carrying around. Never. May this serve as a constant reminder of your sacred, unputdownable burden. That's one way of saying that the nerve damage is quite severe. The only way you'll be able to change your face now is with your fingers. Now, shout from the top of your lungs. You are the noble sufferer. In a rundown shack on the far coast, a middle-aged man pounds his fists and looses an animal cry as he stares into a slither of clouded glass. From above the Bay of Revachol, a cold wind gathers in response. The people of the fishing village pull their coats and blankets tight about themselves. You step back from the mirror. A loose board creaks.
What happened to you?
Better keep the lieutenant in the dark about the whole icebreaker thing. He's not gonna get it.
You look different. Constipated somehow? Yes, your face. Looks like you're having a stroke. Can you even move it?
That's a negative, Lieutenant.
I just don't understand, officer. Please help me understand. And what is that? A walking mask? No, you are not. What you are is an officer of the Revachol Citizens Militia, conducting a murder investigation. No, but you see, you don't. You are not an icebreaker, or a firewalker, or even Tequila Sunset. Are you fucking insane? Don't answer that, and stop doing it. Let's go.
The lieutenant's command instantly lets all the wind out of your sails, like he overrode your mind or flicked some secret master switch. Suddenly, the whole icebreaker concept seems just lame. It's like he reconditioned your brain.